We start with a plain React Native project, rendering a single view that's styled like a circle. Reanimated 2 is available both for plain React Native projects and Expo projects. If using Expo, you'll need to install it using expo install React Native reanimated. This project is using plain React Native, so let's go to the installation. Let's copy the yarn command and let's add it to our project. Now, since this library is using native code, we're going to cd into the iOS directory and pod install the native dependencies. Then we're going to cd back to the root directory and run npx React Native run iOS to rebuild the app. Now we'll go back to the documentation and we'll also need to add the Babel plugin to our Babel config. So let's copy this plugin and let's open our Babel config file and let's add a plugins array here and let's add the plugin. If you already have a plugins array, you'll need to make sure that this plugin is the last item in the array. Finally, let's go to the metro process and let's run yarn start again. Now after refreshing the app, we'll be able to use reanimated. First, let's import switch from React Native and let's add a switch here underneath the view. Let's also create a const array equals React useState and let's initialize this as false. Let's call these as isSelected and setIsSelected. Now for the switch, let's do value equals isSelected and on value change, let's toggle the value of isSelected. Now that we have a toggle button, we can use it to set the size of this circle. So let's start by importing use animated style from React Native reanimated. Now let's do const circle style equals use animated style. So this takes in an arrow function, which returns a style object. And also let's pass in an empty dependencies array. Now for the style, let's do a transform. So this will be an array and we'll do a scale effect. So scale, if isSelected is true, let's do 2. And otherwise, let's do 1. And lastly, let's pass in isSelected into the dependencies array. Now let's take this circle style and pass it into the view. So we'll need to turn this into an array and pass it in as one of the items and save and reload. Now when we toggle this, the animated effect doesn't work. And that's because this is a regular view, not a reanimated view. Animated styles can only be applied to animated views, otherwise they get ignored. Let's import reanimated. So the default export from React Native reanimated. And here in the view, we can do reanimated.view. So this will be the reanimated version of this view. Now after saving and reloading, when we toggle the switch, you'll see that the circle snaps to a large and a small value. But this isn't an animation. In order to make these values increase and decrease gradually, we can use with timing. And rather than setting them to 2 and to 1, we wrap these in a with timing. So we'll do with timing 2 and with timing 1. Now saving this and reloading, always reload the app fully when working with animated styles because you might not get the latest version otherwise. Now when we toggle this, you'll see that the circle increases and decreases gradually. You can set how quickly this animation takes place by passing in a config object. So we'll do duration, let's say 100 for making it bigger. And let's do duration 1000, so a whole second, for when it goes smaller. Let's reload the app. And now we toggle it bigger and we toggle it smaller. There are other functions available other than with timing. For example, if we go to the documentation and the API reference and animations, we'll see we have with timing, with spring, with decay, with delay, with sequence, and with repeat. But with timing will be the one you'll be using most frequently. You can also apply animations using an external value. For that, you can use shared value, and we can declare it here. So we'll do const myval equals use shared value, and we'll pass it in an initial value of 0. Now let's also import pressable from React Native. And now let's wrap this circle in a pressable. So we'll do pressable, put the reanimated view inside, and we'll do onPress handle press. And let's also do a const handle press equals React use callback. And let's pass in the arrow function. And to start with, an empty dependencies array. Now whenever this handle press is called, let's increase myval by 10. So we'll do myval value equals myval value plus 10. We also need to pass myval into the dependencies array here. Now we can use this myval in another transform effect. And let's apply another transform. So we'll do translate x and let's use myval.value. and let's pass in myval into dependencies array. Now after we reload our app, you notice the switch will work as previously, but now when we tap on the circle, then it moves 10 points to the right using this translate X. Again, this just snaps to the right, so to make this transition smooth, when we set the new value in the use callback, we will wrap this in with timing, and this will ensure that the value gets set to current value plus 10, but it will be a smooth transition. So saving and reloading. Now when we tap, you'll see the transition is now gradual.